the largest tree on the planet, on the whole planet.
These trees are ginormous.
This is
Look
amazing.
at this sequoia.
Look at that. They're huge. Oh my gosh. You just keep looking.
Yeah, that's General Sherman right in front of you.
Right in front of us?
The largest tree on Earth.
We've both grown up kind of in the, Rocky Mountains, Black Hills of South Dakota. The trees aren't like this there. So, and we've been to Tennessee and the Smoky Mountains. I mean, we've never seen trees like this. Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to our channel. Today, I am very excited because today we are in California. And one of the things that we have really been looking forward to with California is some national parks that are in this particular area. And so today we are going to be heading out to visit Sequoia National Park, and then we may or may not visit Kings Canyon National Park today, and we might do that a different day. We'll just see how much time that we have, but they're right next to each other. And I have never ever in my life seen a real sequoia tree, and so I am excited to be able to see a sequoia tree today for the first time in my life, and to show the kids sequoia trees. We have never seen trees that big. Being from Colorado, we don't have those types of trees. So we're gonna go check that out, and stay tuned. We'll show you what's there.
The trees arched over the road like a warm embrace. Stripes of shadows all across your face. You hear a sound off in the distance, a rumble in the...
All right, so we get to use our Every Kid Outdoors pass to get in for free. Thanks, Trinity.
Dakota.
Oh, thanks, Dakota.
We're using mine next.
Hello, we've got one of these.
All right. Do you need a map?
That'd be great.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank
too.
you. We're just driving through to go see the giant forest area, and we came upon this called Tunnel Rock, so we're gonna check it out because this looks like a pretty cool little formation that's here. Definitely one of those kind of fun roadside attraction sort of things too. This is actually like an old road that you would drive under this, and you can see kind of the
People obviously see.
yellow lines where this used to be. So this used to be like where people would drive through this,
Yeah, and I think many people.
and obviously they decided to build a road around it and not let people drive through it anymore. I'm sure for safety reasons. Driving up here, every once in a while you'll see little waterfalls like this, and so we wanted to stop and just look at it, but I don't think that there's any sound quite as peaceful as like running water over rocks like this, which is probably why, you know, people have gotten those fountains and stuff over the years where it's just water running over rocks. Man, this sound's got to be one of the most peaceful sounds in the world, just hearing that water over the rocks. Definitely
these are the sequoias.
I think.
Wow,
You can
look
tell
at how big
it's a
they are.
sequoia because of like the branches.
Look at this one here, guys. It looks like an evergreen type of tree, like the needle, like they have needles. I wasn't sure what to expect as far as a sequoia, if it was like if it was in, what do they call it,
don't have
deciduous, where it's like green leaves, or
can tell
not,
it's
but it's like needles.
Yeah, and it's actually, we're going up high in elevation. I wouldn't have thought that going higher up on a big mountain it would have trees, but these actual sequoia trees grow within, what is it, 5,000 to 7,000 feet?
Yeah, they grow between 5,000 and 7,000 feet in elevation, and they're only found in the Sierra Nevadas. I've never seen a tree so big in my entire life. This is crazy. Can you guys see this? Oh my gosh. Crazy.
Look at the texture.
Look at that, it's so thick.
And look at the texture. See?
Yep,
It's like fish scales.
yeah.
The interesting thing that we're reading is that you see a lot of the fire scars on these trees, and that fires actually bring new growth to sequoias, because what happens is the fire dries like the pine cones, or not really pine cones, but the cones that contain the seeds. And then when those seeds come out of the cones because they're dried and it falls onto the ground where there's been the fresh ashes, it creates like the perfect seed bed. And so without that fire, there wouldn't be new growth. So that just struck me as such an amazing metaphor that I feel like so many times, even in our own lives, when we experience either a traumatic event or something like that, some sort of fire, right? Trial by fire is a saying we use in life a lot. That is one of those things that a lot of times forces us out of that comfort zone towards new growth. And so I think it's amazing when you see that played out in nature, that fire, that heat, is what causes the new growth. I almost wonder if this one got struck by lightning because it's charred, or maybe there was a forest fire and it survived. But this is amazing. Like when you look up, you just keep looking and
It's not-
looking and
it's not a
looking and
forest
looking
fire.
and looking.
Because this one's intact. And all these trees
is
around
amazing.
here are intact.
Look at that. They're huge. Wow. Oh my gosh. You just keep looking.
That's huge. And wait.
Actually take like
Yeah.
a thin,
So I think
like
woodpeckers.
this, they would have it this long, or like this
It's
long,
actually
and then
kinda
they'd
hollow
use fish oil
sounding.
to curve the
Yeah, that's interesting.
and then they'd have a string made out of yucca.
Maybe when we get up to the center, there'll be more info.
I read.
Yeah.
I read.
Let's do it.
So we're at the General Sherman Tree Trail. Now this goes to a tree called General Sherman that is the largest tree on the planet, on the whole planet. So we're gonna go see it. Definitely a bucket list item to see the largest tree on the whole planet. So let's go. Right, so if we're walking down 212 feet, we have to come back up the 212 feet that we walked.
Oh,
So going down's gonna be easier than coming back up.
Definitely easier going down.
Good to know. Trunks of the sequoias, though, are bigger around than the trunks of the pines, even though there are some really big pines too. But I think it's just really interesting, the red color versus like the gray color in the bark. Like that's obviously one distinct difference that's really interesting. To see these trees, they're just absolutely amazing. I mean, I'm still blown away, but it's all paved, so very easy to walk down. There are some step areas, so that's something to be aware of, but it's paved. I'm not worried about anybody slipping or sliding if they didn't wear the appropriate footwear, but this is just a great, beautiful trail system here at Sequoia National Park. think they say that you always know which way is north by looking at which way the moss is growing on the trees, because the moss grows on the north sides of the trees, I think. Probably want to verify that before I use it as a compass. So think about it. I mean, if the tree's 2,200 years old, it's going to have been through some forest fires. And the fact that it survived the forest fires and it didn't burn. I wonder if they're really well preserved. Like, you know, if they've got some sort of oils and things like that in them that really preserve them to make them last through fires and stuff. But, oh, see, in the Sherman tree's hot, it's dead.
It is dead, huh?
Yep, so the trunk's gonna not get any taller. But its volume keeps increasing even though it's dead. Oh, that's weird.
What do you mean, volume?
So the cross section of this tree here, we were looking at it, and it was 2,210 years old when they cut it down. So just a little bit younger than the General Sherman tree. But when you look at it, there's places where there's like bigger cracks. And it said what those are those are fire scars. So like where you see the fire scars. So those cracks, and then where you see more growth is then the fires. And it said that this tree had survived at least 80 different fires during its 2,210 year lifespan. So pretty interesting that these giant sequoias see lots of fires within their lifetime, and they continue to grow. It's definitely more difficult walking up versus walking down. And it's about 7,000 feet in elevation, which, I mean, being from Colorado, means about 5, but 7, hair's a little bit thinner. Huffing and puffing just a little bit. And definitely getting the heart rate up. So I'm gonna count this as my workout for today, because I'm definitely gonna work out. So they're all stopping back there to rest. And I'm kind of like thinking of the tortoise and the hare, slow and steady. Trinity decided she was gonna run up, got a quick burst of energy and realized maybe that wasn't so smart. Here she comes again. Slow and steady. Slow and steady. So we're at Kings Canyon National Park, which once we got up here and realized that Kings Canyon and Sequoia basically are adjacent one to another, and we are on a mission to check off as many national parks this summer as we can. We obviously had to just come over here. The road was under some major construction, so there were some pretty good delays and tons of dust to get over to here. But we are over here near what is called the Grant Tree, so we're gonna go check that out. But a ton more sequoias that are here, and we just keep being blown away by these trees, the size of them. We've both grown up kind of in the Rocky Mountains, Black Hills of South Dakota. The trees aren't like this there. So, and we've been to Tennessee and the Smoky Mountains. I mean, we've never seen trees like this. So they definitely are impressive, and something that I would highly recommend putting on your travel list at some point is to come through this area and these 2 national parks. So this Grant Tree Trail to go see the Grant Tree is just kind of a half-mile loop, and it's paved. So the wonderful thing about this here at Kings Canyon National Park is if you have somebody in your group that has some accessibility needs or anything like that, this is a great trail to take them on. Even say a motorized, wheelchair could make it around this trail. So this makes it a great trail for anybody to enjoy regardless of any mobility concerns. Giant fallen sequoia that you can actually go down into and go through.
Let's go under the tree.
So this is pretty cool. Going down underneath this tree. They resist decay for up to thousands of years, so they're very well preserved. This is pretty cool. So this is the General Grant Tree, which is the third
largest tree in the world.
And it's 268 feet tall. And the interesting thing that we were reading is that how big a sequoia gets doesn't really matter about, it's not necessarily where that it is as far as elevation goes, but it's a combination of the right factors with soil and sunlight, and so basically the perfect environment. So the better the environment for those types of factors, the taller it's going to get. So this is the third largest tree in the world, but it's not the oldest tree in the world.
Third largest by volume, so not necessarily how thick it is or tall it is, but just by overall volume.
I mean, they notched all logs to fit on top of each other. We've been reading the Little House on the Prairie books to the kids, and this is how that they built cabins back then, is they did all this by hand. So they would have logs and they would flatten them by hand tools and notch them and put in chinking and they go to the general store and buy nails, but even the boards were just rough cut kind of by hand out of logs, which is pretty impressive when you think about the manual labor that goes into something like that. So early explorers that came to this area found these giant sequoia trees, and they just couldn't believe how big that they were. And so they started telling other people, and they didn't believe them. And so some of these trees back then, this is like in the late 1800s, they cut them down and then shipped them off in pieces to different exhibitions and kind of would put them back together. And this particular remains of this stump that they say is the centennial stump. When they took it to this centennial celebration and kind of reassembled it in pieces to show people, like, yes, there's really trees this big in California, they laughed it off and called it the California hoax, because nobody believed that there were really trees that were this big, and they thought it was a fake. It's kind of interesting backstory that people didn't really believe that these existed until that people started coming and seeing them more in person, because it's just, even with your own eyes, it feels somewhat unbelievable because they are so large. So pretty interesting wonder that's up here. Just fascinating thinking how long some of these trees have been around, just for thousands and thousands of years. And I think the saying is, if these walls could talk, but I almost wonder if these trees could talk, right? What would they say as far as just how that the park has changed over the years, the storms that they've weathered, the fires that they've survived. Just really makes you think about our lifespan is so short, right? We are on this earth for such a small time, which is part of the reason why we do what we do and we live the RV life that we live right now, is because we have such a short time that we're here, but then we have such a short time that our kids are going to be with us in our homes before that they're grown up and leading lives of their own. And so when you think about just time and those lifespans, it really makes you start to realize that this season of parenting and this season of having kids is such a short season that we want to make sure that we're doing this thing well. And that doesn't mean you always have to go RVing to do it well, but just, building that connection, building that relationship with your kids, with your spouse, because we're only here for a short time.